And the JSE also going from strength to strength, 60 points away from 34,000. The PE looking quite attractive. Can we maintain this momentum?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We follow quite a big technical analyst, Thomas DeMark, who's comes up with a lot of market predictions and caught the whole of last year correctly, calling tops and bottoms. He was out on Bloomberg last week saying that you can expect probably another move to about 1338 in the S&P, maybe 1342. So yeah, I think another 2% to the top side possibly.
So in other words, what are you doing with the markets right now? Short, long? What is your play?
I'm very cautiously long this market at the moment.
Tell me about some of the stock picks that you have embarked on since the beginning of the year. What companies are you most bullish on?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we're going to talk about Implats a little bit later. I think the platinum stocks are showing a bit of value, certainly in the mining sector. I think they've come off a lot last year, the likes of Amplats, Implats, even though the CEO resigning and the trading update.
But you're looking at it more from a technical perspective as opposed to a fundamental perspective, where you've got the CEO resigning, you've got strike action, 3,000 ounces of platinum lost per day. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I'm looking for very short-term moves on the top side for those stocks. But yeah, I think the financials are fairly overvalued at the moment. But yeah, I think, we're at critical levels of this market, so it's going to be very interesting.
It's interesting. I mean, you said financials doing quite well. We have actually seen quite a big push to the upside with regards to banks and financials as a whole over the last couple of weeks. Are you saying we could actually see a bit of downside going forward?
I think so. I hope so, because I am short them. But yeah, that might be the case. You might see the large fund managers doing a bit of sector rotation, moving out of the financials, and then certainly looking at a couple of these commodity stocks which look to have some value.
Which stocks are you looking at? You mentioned Impala Platinum.
Yeah, Impala Platinum, I like Amplats. I think Anglo's is a bit toppish up here, to be honest with you.
At 332 Rand.
332 Rand, I think, is a little bit toppish. Obviously, got to keep a very close eye on what's happening on Europe. That's the major thing at the moment.
With regards to SAB, top of the top 40, up over 3%. We had some news out of SAB last week. The Rand is strengthening, however. We know that the emerging market space for SAB is faring quite well, counteracting some of the negativity in North America. Why up so strongly today?
Yeah, it's very confusing, to be honest. I mean, the news came out last week, SAB got sold off. We saw the Rand strengthen today and it rallied on the back of that. So, yeah, not making any sense on today's move. But, yeah, once again, I think guys like it. Really looked into the numbers from last week and said, well, at 283, 282, it's some good value.
With regards to other stocks that you're long, are you sitting long on any specific stocks on the JSE right now?
Yeah,
you said you're cautiously long the market, but what about zoning into some of those stocks?
Yeah, I think it's also the market's very event driven now, and it gives you these opportunities. I think the likes of MTN has showed some value around about the 132s. And as for a trader, it's very difficult to call it at the moment. But you've got to look into the new year. You've got to see us try and define some new ranges for the stocks. And yeah, I think given what Thomas DeMark said last week, I think you've got to be very, very cautious at this current levels.
Let's touch on some of the smaller companies out of the trading updates. Famous Brands, turnover growing by 10% in the 3 months to the end of December. Is that slightly disappointing? We know on the acquisition path for the company, that's been quite strong in the theme for the past year and a half or so.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it very briefly. It looks fantastic. They are opening a lot of restaurants. They're opening in Africa. They've got some exposure. Tashes is doing fantastic. Debonairs is just growing and growing. So yeah, it looks good. But possibly the one that I'd prefer is probably Taste Holdings opposed to Famous Brands. Tell
us why.
Well, I mean, not only...
From a share price perspective.
Share price perspective, I mean, it was one of the biggest gainers for last year, up to a whopping 240%. But yeah, I think the way they focused is more growth, and I think that going forward they show a bit more value.
Also, smaller company Distel out of the trading update, first half profit likely to rise by as much as 25%. Not many companies are going to come out with fantastic numbers like this into this year.
Yeah, definitely. I think it looks fantastic. So yeah, possibly Distel, also SAB. Those are the safer bets, I think. And that's where possibly some money could be going.
And Oliver, you said you're watching the Eurozone crisis quite closely. What would your move be if something collapses in the Eurozone? Short the market, short everything? Is that then what you would be doing as a trader?
No, you never short everything as a trader, because that's just one way to lose money. Yeah, I'd look for stocks which are very overvalued. And as I said, I think we overbought. So yeah, let's watch S&P. Let's see what happens this week, and just find some various stocks which are overbought at current level.